Yo, what is up guys? Ethan here back with another video, and today we're back with college football 2022 predictions. Today, this video is going to be on the Ohio State Buckeyes. I had to make sure I had "the" in there, because if not, Ohio State fans are going to go in my comments saying all types of mumbo jumbo. But today we're going to be talking about Ohio State, and they should definitely be better than last year. And of course they have lost that two-headed monster at receiver in Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. But they are 25th in returning production in all of college football, returning 70% of the offense, which is 53 or 53rd in the college football, and they returned 82% of the defense, which is 14th in the nation. And of course, the main reason why Ohio State really didn't play well last year was because of that defense. They decided to fire Kerry Coombs, and they did get a new defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, who's Oklahoma State's defensive coordinator, as he led them to have like a top 10, 15 defense in all college football. Let's focus on the offense real quick for Ohio State. You have a Heisman, well, not going to be the Heisman frontrunner because that's probably going to be Bryce Young. But you have a top 3 Heisman favorite in C.J. Stroud returning at quarterback as he's a redshirt sophomore. This is probably going to be his last year, and we already know he's going to put up ridiculous stats in this offense. The running game, you got a two-headed monster in Travion Henderson and Mian Williams. Travion Henderson, as a freshman, had ridiculous stats, and he's only going to be improving. They were Saquon Barkley-esque of last year. So I'm just very curious to see how Travion Henderson improves his game under this offense and Ryan Day. Man, Travion Henderson could be a Heisman finalist alongside C.J. Stroud. That's how high-powered this offense is. And like I already mentioned with Olave and Wilson leaving, they still got crazy great wide receivers. We have Jackson Smith-Njigba coming back. And there's some Ohio State fans saying that Jackson Smith-Njigba was overall a better wide receiver last season over Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Do I agree with that? No, I think it was Garrett Wilson, but that's just my personal opinion. But that just shows you how crazy that three-headed monster Ohio State had last year, and you're going to have him coming back. He himself is going to be a Heisman candidate probably. So there is 3 potential Heisman candidates on this Ohio State offense. That is just ridiculous. And then also you have players like Marvin Harrison Jr., Mcallister, and I definitely butchered his name, and then Julian Fleming in at wide receiver. Even though you lost 2 great wide receivers, Ohio State just filling them in and was like, yeah, here's your wide receiver core. And that corpse, definitely top 3, arguably number 1. I would probably even say it was number 1. But if you don't have this wide receiver core at top 3, you're kind of delusional as a college football fan. This offensive line is definitely going to be improved as you have multiple seniors coming back for the team. And overall, I think, and then of course you have Paris Johnson, who's one of the best tackles in college football. Then let's talk about this defense, as that was the main issue. Like I've already said, around 80% of that defense is coming back next year, which is absolutely insane. Let me go back to Tanner Mcallister to start off first. He was one of Oklahoma State's top defenders last year under the Cowboys offense. He entered transfer portal after Jim Knowles decided to accept the defensive coordinator job at Ohio State. Mcallister, of course, transferred to Ohio State following Knowles. And he's definitely going to have a day one impact at that cornerback position. Also coming back at those positions are Denzel Burke and Cameron Brown. Also with the safeties, you have Ronnie Hickman and Josh Proctor. Josh Proctor is probably going to be the main dude in that secondary for experience-wise. It's either going to be him or Mcallister, but Proctor has more experience with this team. The linebackers is probably the only quote-unquote issue with this team, maybe. The edges on this group are absolutely insane. Defensive tackle Tylek Williams was a very pleasant surprise for this Buckeyes defense. He's only going to improve. JT, I'm not even going to pronounce his last name. Top 4 player in the 2021 class. He's coming in as a redshirt freshman, going to be starting most likely. Really going to be curious to see how he plays. And then besides those 2 freshmen, everyone else has tons of experience on the rest of the defensive line and that linebacking core. All I'm seeing right now is seniors and redshirt seniors and redshirt juniors and juniors. Tons of experience coming back for the Buckeyes, as that is going to be huge for them coming up in the close games. So now let's look at this schedule. You're returning tons of production, and week 1, You have an iconic game, Saturday night primetime versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I would actually say if this was in Notre Dame, in South Bend, I would still have Ohio State winning this game by like 7-8 points. But this is in Columbus at the Horseshoe. I love Marcus Freeman, man. I don't even know if I can go back to my old videos. I've been praising him so much for so long now. He's not going to be enough. Ohio State, because they're home, Saturday night primetime, this crowd's going to be lit. I have Ohio State winning this game by around 17, 16 points. It's not going to be an entertaining game in my opinion. I think from the start to finish, Ohio State's going to dominate this game. Maybe Notre Dame starts off a little hot after Fiesta Bowl, but last year, I just can't see any way Ohio State loses. Next game, well, the next two games, Arkansas State and Toledo, 2 home games, both wins. Next game, you host Wisconsin, and I'm not gonna say I'm high on Wisconsin. I'm probably average about this team. They have a top 5 running back in Braylon Allen. They have a top 10, 15, 20 offensive line there at Wisconsin too. The defense always seems to be good there too, but that's just not going to be enough. Ohio State, just like the Notre Dame game, should win this game by 16, 17 points. Even if this was in Madison, I'd still have Ohio State winning this game. I just can't see any way Wisconsin goes down to the Horseshoe and beats this stacked Ohio State team. I just can't see it. Then next week is homecoming. You host Rutgers. I'm higher on Rutgers this year. I think Rutgers is getting slept on by many college football fans. Maybe not a bowl game, but definitely getting slept on down there in Piscataway. This is an easy game for Ohio State, though. They should handle Rutgers. The next game's at Michigan State. And as you will learn eventually, I am not high on this Michigan State team at all. I understand you're returning tons of defensive products, but you were one of the worst passing offenses in college football last year. What is the offseason really going to do? Improve it from like 126 to 20? You're not jumping up 100 spots. I just don't see it. You have gotten some transfers like Jarek Rashard going into the offense. But the big thing is, it's not because of the talent. Ohio State on the schedule is going 5 straight home games. Your first road game is the second week of October. That is very unusual for any college football team. You would really not like your first road game to be that late into the season. And because of that, I think the Michigan State crowd is really going to intensify on that Ohio State team. I think Ohio State actually starts off slow in this game, but then it's going to kind of look like last year once we get into the second half. Ohio State will win this game, but it's maybe a little bit closer than you anticipate. Then you have that bye week, and then you host Iowa. Iowa is a great defensive team. This offense is not very good. I'm pretty sure you just got a new coordinator. It's a very similar to how I just described Wisconsin. I just don't see any way Iowa goes into Columbus and wins. I think this is more of a whooping than it was with Wisconsin. 16-17 was the spread with Wisconsin. This is probably going to be a 20-point win for the Buckeyes here at home. But after that game, you have a super tough game at Penn State. And this is going to be a close game in my opinion. Penn State may not be a 10-2 team, and this is not even the whiteout game. This is probably going to be a noon game because Fox is stupid with scheduling. Always going to Penn State is always a tough place to play. If this was just like any road game, like a Michigan State, or if you were home, I would have Ohio State with the same spread, 16-17 points. But just because it's in Beaver Stadium, this is going to be like a 10-point game. I think Ohio State finds a way to win this game. I don't even know if it's going to be the whiteout, but the crowd's going to go crazy. Maybe it's a stripe game like what they did versus Michigan last year. I was actually at that, but Ohio State should win this game. And this is probably going to be the closest thing to an upset on this schedule. Next week, you go down the Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald, I don't know anything because like one year you go 3-9, next year you go 9-3. Either way, one of those losses is going to be this week. You're losing to Ohio State this week. Ohio State, after a big win at Penn State, just keeps that momentum rolling. Next week, you host Indiana. You get steamrolled. Well, you steamroll them. Easy win late in the year. First, you go down to College Park and you play the Terrapins of Maryland. And did Maryland? Yes, they should be improved this year. They have a elite wide receiver duo, and Raheem Jarrett and Dante Demas. I absolutely love that duo. Talia Tagovailoa should be improved. Definitely butchered his name. The defense was man last year. You lost a few guys, including a 5-star in Terrence Lewis as he left for UCF. I'm very skeptical about that defense at Maryland, and if you have questions on defense, you're easily getting steamrolled with that offense led by CJ Stroud. Ohio State should win this game. Maybe it's a little bit closer than people anticipate with how late it is in the year. Ohio State's going to win this game relatively easy, though. Then you have the game. Michigan, for the first time, and it seems like forever, beat Ohio State last season. One of the biggest games, well, actually, I think it was the most broadcasted game last year, if I'm not mistaken. One of the best rivalries in college football, up there with the Iron Bowl and Army-Navy. And I'm just going to say this. Michigan fans can get mad all they want. Ohio State is going to be so furious. This is... Penn State and Notre Dame are just slight circles on their schedule. This is obviously the game they have circled, and they're going to whoop Michigan. Now, maybe whoop's a little too harsh. It's probably going to be like a relatively same score as it was with Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Michigan State, and etc. 17-point victory for Ohio State at home. And you have no losses. I think this Ohio State team on paper is the most talented team in college. Well, I'm not going to say team. By far the most talented offense in college football. The defense, we still have to see, but I do think that defense will be much improved with a few transfers and a new defensive coordinator in Jim Knowles coming in from Oklahoma State. 12-0 for Ohio State. If there is a loss, the only games I can really see losing: home versus Notre Dame, at Penn State, at Maryland, and then home versus Michigan. Maryland is just a trap game. Easy trap game on this schedule. But Ohio State gets it done. They go 12-0. Even with the loss in the Big Ten championship game, this should be a playoff team 100%. I have high expectations for Ohio State this season. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments section below. Like, share, subscribe this video. Push notifications on, as 1 to 2 prediction videos are coming out each and every single day. And like always, have a good day. Peace out.